Hello everyone, today in this video we'll fight against the atmosphere of our world around us, and today we will discuss a very important issue but very often neglected. In the 3rd century AD there was a Persian guy coming from one of the Parthian side branches of the royal family, Mr. Mani, also known as Manichaeus, and he later would become a founder of new religion, marked by dualistic approach between good and evil, quite clear distinction. And what's the most interesting in Manichaeism is syncretism, because when Mani was having his revelations and he was creating his religion, he was traveling from India to India from Persia. He was also meeting people from the Roman Empire and from other cultures. Actually, his parents were coming from Judaizing Christian sect in Mesopotamia. It was really a melting pot of ideas and religions those days, modern day Iraq. So we see that his, let's say, theological background was very mixed, and he created very syncretic religion called Manichaeism or Manichae in other versions of the books about it. And the most interesting to me about Manichaeism is that initially it got support from the Sassanid royalty in the early Sassanid period, but later when Shah changed, Mani was just pushed into the prison, jailed. One version said that he was jailed in a sort of home arrest. Second version said that after being jailed he was crucified and died more or less at the age of 60, 61, 62. I don't know if his end was tragic or not, but in every religion, always tragic end gives boost to recruiting new followers. So that's why it was remembered. But Manichaeism was spreading was spreading actually very quickly. Quickly, it reached even Spain and the territories of modern Maghreb. And we need to remember that for 7 or 8 years, even Saint Augustine was follower of Manichaeism, but he was not the perfect one, because in Manichaeism, as always in the Gnostic movements, we have this division on 2 or 3 groups. 2 groups like perfect ones, the ones who know that they will reach salvation and they are teaching others how to live and so on, and the ordinary ones. In some Gnostic groups we have, of course, these 2 groups I mentioned, so perfect and ordinary ones, and also we have the group that they consider as hopeless, that they are not worth converting because they will never even have a chance to even approach salvation. But okay, so Manichaeism was spreading from Spain to China in the Uyghur state for about 80 years. In 7th, 8th century it was a state religion. So we see that twice Manichaeism managed to be for a short time religion supported by the secular power. That's why it spread. But later it quickly went down to be a very much prosecuted religion. And this is very I would say striking, because in contrast to Christianity and also in contrast to Islam, that had support of the secular power from the very beginning. Actually, in Islam there is no secular power, construction of the society and state. So the elements of the society and state are tightly bound with this religion. In Christianity there was always better or worse separation, but we know that in the 4th century AD Christianity got support from the Roman state and later from other states and spread more and more. But Manichaeism never got permanent support from the state, with some exceptions like initially support on the Persian early Sassanid court, and later in the Uyghur state in the Eastern Central Asia, but we see that it didn't last long. So at the end of the day, some scholars say that in the beginning of the 16th century, Manichaeans die out in China. We have to remember that some of the representatives of the Manichaean church were met by Marco Polo during his travels in China, especially in the territory like Fujian province on the north of Guangdong, where we still have a very interesting Buddhist temple, in which, of course, with the typical East Asiatic facial features, but when we look at this figure and descriptions around it, we can easily recognize that this figure represents a depiction of money. So Manichaeism ended up its existence in China in the beginning of 16th century. We also have some branches in Christianity with many Manichaeism element, Paulicians in Armenia and in Asia Minor, a sect of warriors, surprisingly quite outstanding profession in contrast to peace-loving and life-loving Manichaeans. Later we have Bogomils in Bulgaria, Balkans, derived from Paulicians, Patarens in Bosnia, who also were in 12th century for 2 or 3 decades state religion. Later the ruling ruling people changed their decision and came back to Orthodoxy. And so later they spread to south of France mainly, so we have Qatar movements. So we can see that career of Manichaeism and its derivatives is amazing. And the main conclusion I would like to tell to you is that religion can survive for long, can get many followers, can even spread quickly, but it cannot rule and be permanently rooted in some territories like Christianity or Islam if it doesn't get support from the secular powers or doesn't dominate them and incorporate them into its structure like Islam, because we see that without state support, Manichaeism finally, after about 13 centuries, completely die out. All the best, have a nice day, bye.